All right. All right.
Activities on behavioral behavior that incorporate the behavior of teams, because they are extremely vigorous and technically. That's a John Cobb.
Then we're done, yeah. Thank you all for being here to celebrate John, who's 98 years old, and the Center for Process Studies celebrating 60 years old. Yeah. I'm Andrew Schwartz. I'm the director of the Center for Process Studies, And it's my privilege to welcome you, those who are in person in Claremont here, as well as those who are online. Thanks for joining us. This is a party. We don't want to bore you with a bunch of long speeches by some random guy up here. So we're going to move on quickly. But I do have a couple of words of welcome that we want to share from our friends from China. Richard. Yeah, whenever you're ready. Sounds like a whole lot of that over there. Better than Thank you all for being here to celebrate John, who's 98 years old, and Jennifer Process that he's celebrating 60 years old. Yes. I'm Andrew Short. I'm the director of the Center for Process Studies, and it's my privilege to welcome you first in the Claremont here, as well as online. This is a party. We don't want to bore you with a bunch of long speeches by some random guy up here. So we're going to move on quickly. sounds like a whole lot of that. Well, a birthday party is not really a good capitalist birthday party unless there's a gift involved. No, you can get gifts without being capitalist. Doesn't matter. It's okay. Read For the Common Good by John Cobb and Herman Daly. That John, we would like to give you right now. It's a surprise. Maybe. We'll see if somebody spilled the beans beforehand, if he knows about this, or if it's actually a surprise.
Oh, all right. Well, okay. So I'm going to tell a story, then you're going to explain.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. So the past 3 years, when I was in Scotland at the University of Edinburgh, we had a nice little faculty debate at New College breakout. And it was not a Methodist gathering because there was a lot of gin involved. And there was a small debate waging in the corner with all the religion faculty about whether or not theology was useful. And I said, well, that's offensive. Of course it is. By the way, you teach ecology and religion. We invented it. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's called John freaking Cobb. And then it turned into a debate on who is the greatest living theologian. And I said, well, the correct answer is JC himself. And he's my second favorite JC because I haven't figured out how to get John in my heart. And I proceeded, full of the spirit, in faculty meeting to list off all of the ways that John dominated Jürgen Moltmann. And I said, tell me a little about Jürgen Moltmann. I was like, baby, for John Cobb. And we got in this large conversation. They said, Tripp, you should be in charge of his publicity because you had about a 5-minute prepared spiel about his excellence and superiority, about how he pioneered mutually transforming ways of engaging religious pluralism while owning his own identity as a Methodist preacher's kid. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he did. And not only that, he was a frontier of ecological philosophy. He also recognized the way what was present in the Logos is shaping culture every moment all the way to this day. And it invites him as a follower of Jesus to engage in all the life-giving flourishes across all cultures. He did that because he's a Christian theologian. And I kept going through my list. Well, I was venting about this experience when I was hanging out with the Andrews in Napa at a wonderful process gathering around love and power. And then Andrew told me something which inspired the birthday present.
Not too long ago, several of our process organizations, all inspired by Dr. John B. Cobb Jr., got together to create something that you might have heard. It's called the John Cobb Legacy Fund. And yeah, that was great. And we have a video from Chinese youth. No. So in all this excitement celebrating John's legacy, all this things, all of his impact in China, his ecological wisdom, his work as a philosopher, as an economist, and connecting with biologists and physicists. John expressed a concern that his most central sort of identity was not being lifted out into the forefront the way that, he would like his legacy portrayed. Namely, his identity as a Christian theologian. And I'm talking to Tripp here in Napa, and it's like, we should probably do something about that. Herein lies John Cobb, Christian theologian. So we came together and we actually used the wonderful resources of the Center for Process Studies archive and found beautiful writings that John has written over the years that were in our collection, largely unpublished ever before, and put them together in a new volume to make it clear once and for all, yes, if anybody was wondering, John Cobb is indeed a Christian theologian. And here's all the ways you can read about that.
Thank you so much. And you might be interested that 3 days ago, I had a letter from Jürgen Volkmar. He thinks we're the only two left from my generation. Thank you. I will look forward to finding out what I used to think.
So we're actually, we did this to promote John's legacy as well as his identity in shaping Christian theology. And as part of that, all of the proceeds for the book are actually going to support process theology and the John Cobb Legacy Fund. We've got a bunch of copies in the back, and if John is willing to stick around at the end of the party and sign them, that would be wonderful. If he gets tired, he's 98. But anyways, so thank you for all your work, John, and leading us. It's a pleasure.
I would just like to say that the part of my legacy as a theologian that I'm most proud of, Tripp Fuller and Tom Orr. These are two people who have made real use of theology. It's one thing to write papers. It's another to really help hundreds of people to find meaning in life, and I think you've done that, Tripp. I think Tom is doing that too.
Congratulations, Tripp. That was recorded. And now you don't need a resume anymore. You just have that video clip that you can play for the rest of your life. Okay, so in celebrating the history of the Center for Process Studies, we're looking back at the last 50 years, celebrating John Cobb's life and legacy, which is continuing, thankfully. Come back in 2 more years for his 100th birthday celebration. But now we actually have a special opportunity for a ceremony that will help us as we imagine transitioning, building out of the past, a very process thing to do, in anticipation of the future as we sort of live into the next 50 years. And I think this is an important time to capture actually what has been miraculous, that a faculty research project started in 1973 has blossomed and grown and flourished and now helped to spark a global movement, a wildfire represented by 36 plus centers across China, representatives of nonprofit organizations that I can't count all of. If we can throw that slide up there. Effectively, what we are recognizing is a global process nexus. So we're really excited that all of you here in this room are part of this global community. And I'd like to invite Sherry Kling to come up and lead us in this ceremony of celebration of the past coming together, moving forward to the future.
All right.
Richard, do you have the slides with the song and stuff like that? So we're going to start with a song, and this is a song that some of you may have sung the tune in worship service, but I've changed the words a little bit to make them more fitting for this kind of gathering. It's called Come All You People. We're going to begin our celebration with this song. And if Ignacio and Mary Elizabeth would come forward, we would like, we have something that we would like John to wear during this ceremony. So I'm going to teach you the song. I'll sing the first verse. Is it up there? Okay, we can go one to the next slide. It goes like this. Come all you people, come and join together. Come all you people, come and join together. Come all you people, come and join together. Come now and weave us all in. So let's start from the beginning and do all that again. Come all you people, come and join together. Come all you people, come and join together. Come all you people, come and join together. Come now and we must all in. Come now you people, come and sing together. Come all you people, come and sing together. Come all you people, come and sing together. Come now and we must all in. Come all you people, come and hold together. Come all you people, come and hold together. Come all you people, come and hold together. Come now and we must all in. One more verse. Come all you people, come and love together. Come all you people, come and love together. Come all you people, come and love together. Come now and we must all in.
This is an exciting moment. So let's all take a big, deep breath together. And out. Look around at each other. There are people in this room. We have stories we only tell if they're in the room with us. And there are people we haven't met before, but we know we have a deep bond. Because you and me and all of us are a part of a community that comes to know who they are by being a part of the flourishing of each other's lives and the whole web of life that we're connected to. One of the beautiful gifts that each of us have received because of John's faithfulness to the Lord is a community where we know that's possible. One of the things that has energized us as individuals in all the different parts of the process community is seeing that spark show up in our tribes, in our peoples, in our communities. And this time today, part of celebrating and honoring John's legacy is having the same passion and commitment that he's had for his whole life to this moment is something that we receive and choose to give ourselves to in the future. So as we take another breath, look now again one at each other and realize that the difference between each other that our bodies tend to convince us of all too often is not worth trusting. What's worth trusting is the invitation of the divine moment to embrace the gift of life and the possibilities of its flourishing when we breathe and receive that gift together and exhale in the work together.
And now I'd like to invite you to participate in a liturgy that we are going to read together. I'm going to be reading some leader parts, and then there will be parts marked attendees on the screen that you will read. 50 years ago, John Cobb and David Griffin created the Center for Process Studies.
Over the past half century, this small faculty project in Claremont has flourished, helping to inspire and nurture a global process movement. Now, with more than 45 process centers and nonprofits worldwide, led by process scholars on 6 continents, a wonderful new challenge has emerged to determine how best to work together to maximize our collective impact. Join me. We acknowledge the rich history of the process movement and are grateful for the leadership of our ancestors. We are in the midst of a very special historical moment, both in the life of the process movement and the world at large. We face big problems in our world: the climate crisis, economic inequality, social exclusion, political polarization, violence, and war. These problems persist despite the best efforts of many to solve them, because interventions don't involve change at the deepest levels of our core assumptions about how the world works and our place in it. The existential problems of human existence, such as our quest for a life full of meaning and purpose, are being disrupted by stale religion, shallow societal values, and feelings of isolation perpetuated by damaging understandings of what it means to be human. We yearn for the process movement to contribute creatively to solve the problems our world is facing, knowing that our very yearning is the presence of the empowering call forward. Now, I'd like to call forward those that might consider themselves part of the next generation of people working to advance process thinking and the process movement. So if you feel like you are part of the movement for the next 50 years, even if you may not be involved in the 50 full years yourself, but please come forward now.
Don't be shy.
Step forward, please.
There's no age limit.
There's no age required. Come on.
The future is now.
If you believe in taking it forward, come forward. And we are all going to say, those of us up here are all going to say this together, what's on the screen now. Oops. We believe deeply that process thought can help address the problems we face by offering a rigorous and coherent way of thinking holistically, a tested method for aligning progressive values and beliefs with meaningful ways of living, and a cohesive agenda for action that advances the common good. With the development of new technologies, individuals from around the world can connect and collaborate like never before. The time has come for a strategically coordinated international effort to unite the process movement. We're calling it the Global Process Nexus. We hope that this new initiative, led by a new generation of process leaders, will enable us to build on what Cobb and Griffin started and launch our community forward toward realizing their hope for a Whitehead century. And now all of us. We welcome the new winds that blow fresh perspectives and possibilities, and commit to supporting new leaders as they take the process movement forward.
So we designed this stole where
Your mom.
well, my mom designed it. But a stole that has all the different these different chords play on the image of the many and the one, and how the mantle of all that John has brought in this community is not something one person inherits, but all of us together. And so what Andrew and I are going to do is put these chords on these volunteers here to represent the collective of the future, to symbolically show that what we're celebrating isn't something that's nearing a completion, but it's just beginning to bring all the goodness into the world. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And wear it every night.
And notice the beautiful Center for Process Studies embroidered logo on that stole. And we're going to sing another song now while this beautiful stuff is happening. If we could advance to the next slide. This is a song called Blue Boat Home that was written by Peter Mayer. And it's to the tune of Love Divine, All Loves Excelling. So if you know that, you would be able to sing this really easily, but it's not a difficult song. I think it's really appropriate for this event. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still I drive and hard and say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my home. Sun by sail and moon by rudder, as I climb the starry sea, leaning over the edge to wonder, asking questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, awaking the different souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens, in our beautiful one more verse. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the brave winter in beyond, breathe me in the sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born above the fathoms, never harbor a port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my home. That last line again. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my home. Thank you very much. Thank you.
If you've got one of the chords, after we get done, come up and want to get a picture. With everyone. And sign the card.
Yes, we have a card for those who sign, have the chords.
Is that it or?
That's it.
Oh, there's a benediction.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if you want.
That's you.
I know, is it on there?
Nope.
No, oh, then never mind. All right. We give thanks for the threads of beauty that have been woven by our ancestors, and we commit to adding our own brilliant and diverse hues, so that together we may weave hope into this world. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. I think that was kind of fun. And it's great to just be a part of the energy and excitement of celebrating John. But also, John, I just hope you know how much you mean to all of us.
Yes.
None of us would be here if it wasn't for you, because this is your party and it wouldn't make sense to gather. No, but actually, I think maybe we could hear a few words from you. It might be good for you to come up and share something. And then I think the only thing standing between us and some birthday cake is a few words from John Cobb. So no pressure. If you'd like to come up and say something. Oh, I thought we were going to sing after he speaks.
That's good. Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, I had no idea what was going to happen this afternoon. And what did happen shows a lot of thought, planning, and wonderful surprises for me. So I do really and truly appreciate you all coming. I'd love to have half an hour with each of you. That's the way I would like to relate to people. I'm proud of what we've done. We will be celebrating the life and death of David Griffin tomorrow. And I want you to know that so far as the Center for Process Studies is concerned, its success is 3/4 his achievement. He really had, well, he had half of his pay to work on it. So that's the reason that he did most of the work. But he did it with such brilliance. I didn't appreciate at the time nearly as much as I do now, because no one else has picked up on that at all. I mean, he was able to select people for conferences and to be able, in many, many fields, and then when they were here and having the conference, to participate with them in their terms, in field after field. I think it was, I mean, I admired it at the time, but I just haven't seen anything like it happening without him. And so that has made me appreciate and admire him even more. And of course, he was my closest theological friend and companion. And so I hope most of you will be able to participate in his memorial service. I'm glad this is not a memorial service. The tone is different, so that's maybe the wrong thing to end with. But I have been an extremely fortunate person. And I think the most wonderful fortune is to have been connected with many of you. I have felt friendship and mutuality, cooperation all my life. And I know it's possible. And I wish that it could become the way nations related to each other. But in this country, if it could only become the way people relate to each other, it would be a great gain. It makes me angry that we are stuck with a metaphysics that does not encourage cooperation. What is taught in our universities is competition. And as long as we do not change in our deep level of thinking, I'm afraid that will continue to be so. So I wish the Christian community understood the great gift it could give the world if it took itself seriously, but it doesn't. It doesn't realize that it has a saving message. It doesn't present what it has in that way. But I think that the saving message of Christianity is by no means limited to Christians. I'd like to point out that the first person to really take Jesus seriously when he asserted that his original teaching, the most original feature of his teaching, was that we should love our enemies. First person to take that seriously, organize around it, was a Hindu. So when I'm a Christian theologian because I take Jesus extremely seriously. I think if we do not love our enemies, we will destroy ourselves. And we're in the process of doing that. But I don't hear it much. I certainly don't experience the American people as loving the leaders of China and Russia at the present time. But we don't. There's no future. So I ask you to join me in following Jesus, whether you are a Hindu or an atheist or whatever. And I would especially think the church might give that a thought.
We've got two songs we'd like to sing together. One of them, you might guess, is a classic called Happy Birthday. But the other, another classic, we heard our friends at the Beijing kindergarten singing, You Are My Sunshine. Do you want to? Yeah.
So in process theology, every moment is a birthday, because every moment is a new moment. Not identical with what comes before, but influenced by what comes before. So in that deep process spirit, let's sing happy deep birthday to John Cobb. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy
Do I have to eat all of this?
And because we're all interconnected and all interdependent, let's remember that John was interdependent with Jean. And they were a team. And they were together. And he needed her as much as she needed him. And Jean's favorite song was You Are My Sunshine. And even toward the end of her life, she knew that song. And she could sing it. So let's sing You Are My Sunshine. By the way, it's not, if you listen to the lyrics, they're not all process. But the chorus, You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine, that's good process. So just ignore the rest and enjoy the melody. But sing it loud. Gene, this is for you. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and I cried. All right, here we go. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. All right, one more. I'll always love you and make you happy. But if you'd only stay the same, I can't remember the next lyric. I will improvise today. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we all feel that way about you. You are our sunshine. So happy birthday, my friend. Special thanks to John Fahey, Dick Buns, the whole crew from Cobb Institute for helping to organize this wonderful gathering and putting it together. We've got drinks and food and cake. Let them eat cake. We've got cards in the back. We've got a table full of these new books that John might want to sign. Let's party.
Let's party.
Those of you with your little stolies, come on up.
Get a picture.
Oh, the photo. John, it's a German chocolate cake with coconut and pecan, made by the former Mia Laird, who used to work at the Central Process Center. So I think they'll be your flavor. Yes, good. Okay, that was the goal.
Okay. Richard.
If anybody is missing a few $100, there was some left in the ladies' restroom. Please check your wallet or purse. If you were in the ladies' restroom and accidentally left a few $100, please come up here.
Okay.
You're in the Oh, it's off.
There's cake for everybody.
Yes, cake, cake, cake. Jeremy brought his own wine.